Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kier, and this is Jason. And today we are back with the second half of our top 10 films of 2004, part two, obviously, second half. So if you missed the first half, definitely want to go back and check that out. So our first half was our number 10 through number 6. This will be our number 5 through number 1 with some honorable mentions. And then we also are going to be doing a challenge film for each other at the end of the show. So you'll definitely want to hang around to the end so you don't miss out on that. So it'll be our challenge film for 2005. So definitely stick around for that at the end of the show as well. Well, without further ado, I say we just get right into it, man. We got a lot of films to cover. And so I'm going to have you go ahead and kick it off, if you will, with your number 5 film of 2004, sir.
My number 5 is on your list for sure. I don't know where exactly, but that is Dawn of the Dead. So, great movie. Just to share a little quick story, maybe anybody watching this or who knows me for sure knows that the original Dawn of the Dead is my favorite movie of all time. So, it was with great anticipation that I waited for this movie to come out, and I actually somehow, I don't even remember how, scored a pass to see a preview screening of it, like a few months before it came out. And they didn't even tell you what the name of the movie was. It was like a secret. But I guessed what it was. And I remember sitting there in my seat, really full of tension, because I was like, they better not mess this up. They better not mess this up. They better not mess this up. And then the first 10 minutes happened, and it blew me away. Still, the first 10 minutes of this movie, I love the whole thing, but it's like the first 10, 15 minutes through the opening credits, basically, that I think is the best part of the movie. And it just after that point, I could relax. I remember that. I can relax. I was like, this is going to be good. They did a good job. So my number 5 for 2004 is the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Awesome. Yeah, so it'll also be in my top 5 as well. It definitely blew me away also. For me, it actually blew me away so much. I was like, wow, this is actually better than the original. So that's exactly what I thought when I first saw it. And you know what? I still feel that way about it today. So it'll be in my list also, a little bit up the list, of course. But great choice, man. Great choice. I always love it when the remake is better than original, which in this case it was.
Yeah, that has happened before, but not in this case. Not in this case.
Great choice. Great choice. Well, my number 5, we actually have already mentioned in the previous show. So it was in Jason's list. My number 5 is actually going to be Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. So it's just a really, really funny film. I mean, I remember the first time watching this, just laughing so hard I almost cried. Just because it was just laugh after laugh after laugh, and it's just funny, just the hijinks that they get into and that kind of stuff. And the film still holds up today for me quite well. I watched it, I don't know, probably last 2 years or so. And I still laugh every time I watch it. So one of my favorite comedies of all time. And that's my number 5. Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Yeah. Great movie. Awesome. We talked about it last time, but yeah. I remember just being really surprised. Not that I didn't think it was going to be good, but I didn't think it was going to be that good. So my number 4 is a movie that's not quite as funny as Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, and that is Mysterious Skin.
Yeah, that's definitely not funny at all.
No, it's not funny at all. No. This is I think it's a very powerful movie. Actually, back in 2004, it was my number 1 of that year, I remember. But it's a very, I guess you could say, depressing movie. It's not a happy movie at all, but it's kind of the movie that put Joseph Gordon-Levitt on the map as a serious actor. Because before then, he was mainly known as, Third Rock from the Sun, and he got a few acting roles in Halloween H2O and stuff like that. But this was the movie that really put him on the map as a serious actor, and he's really great in this movie, playing a teen hustler, who it's basically two teenage boys who find each other because they were mutually abused by the same pedophile. So it's a real fun movie, as you can tell. But all jokes aside, it's an excellent movie. It's very powerful, very dramatic, very moving experience. It's directed by Greg Araki, who I haven't loved everything he's made, but I think this is by far his best movie. So may not be a fun movie, but it's fun in the sense that it's really good. I'm of the opinion that like even a really depressing movie, if it's good, it's still entertaining in a way. So it is entertaining in the sense that it's really good because it's entertaining to watch good movies, if that makes sense. So that's my number 4.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, you know, it's not really right up my alley or anything, but I mean, it was okay. I didn't love it or anything like that, of course. But yeah, it won't make my top 10 or honorable mentions or anything. And it is kind of depressing. But not saying that films can't be good. I mean, I do like a lot of films that could be considered depressing, but this wasn't one of them. So, but cool.
All right,
choice, I guess. So, well, to switch it up and to get back to fun, so is actually more uplifting and is funny and a classic is actually going to be Anchorman: The Legend of Ron Burgundy. So yeah, just great. I mean, we've had this conversation before. You know, during this period of the 2000s, you know, Will Ferrell and Ben Stiller and Vince Vaughn and all those guys were everywhere. Most of them make a cameo appearance someplace in this film as well. So all those guys were everywhere. This one's right along with all those other great comedies from that era and that time period. I always loved Ron Burgundy. It's a great comedy. Just really, really fun film. One of my all-time favorite comedies. And that's my number 4 for 2004.
Cool. Yeah, I remember liking it. I've only seen it one time. I should probably watch it again. But I remember thinking it was pretty good. You know, not amazing or anything. And it's kind of like one of those movies that really it didn't do much at the box office, kind of like Office Space in a way, but it caught on over the years and it became kind of this cult thing to the point that they even made a sequel. You know, when it first came out, it bombed basically. So nobody would have ever thought there would have been a sequel to it, but it got so popular afterwards that they made a sequel, which I've never seen. How's the sequel anyway?
I liked it. It's not as good as the first one. So whatever year that comes out, it won't be in my top 10 for that year, that's for sure. But I didn't.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but it's not one that I would say is a must see. You know, but the first one, I love that one for sure.
Yeah, I like everybody in it. I don't remember loving it, but maybe I'll watch it again one of these days. I remember thinking it was all right.
Cool. All right, yeah. Number 3, sir.
Cool. My number 3 is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So this movie, in my opinion, is a masterpiece. It's a really unique movie, directed by Spike Jonze from a script by Charlie Kaufman. I really like most of the things Charlie Kaufman has written, like Being John Malkovich and Adaptation, Synecdoche, New York. It's really kind of it really kind of melds a romantic drama with science fiction in a way, but it's a really cool movie. Got really great imagery. There's nothing else quite like it. It's a really great movie. So that's my number 3. Eternal Sunshine.
Cool. Yeah, and well, you know, not one that I love, but cool for you. But I thought it was okay. It wasn't anything that was, you know, kind of forgettable for me personally. It's just me, man. It's just kind of forgettable. So, like I said, didn't make my top 10 honorable mentions, but you know, it had some things going on. So,
okay, it had some things going on.
Yeah, man. So yeah, you know, it was definitely a movie. But yeah, man, good choice. Good choice.
Yeah.
I don't remember that well, to be honest with you. Because, like I said, for me, it was forgettable. I don't remember all that well. I don't remember loving it or anything, though. So, but cool.
Yeah.
My number 3, we've actually already covered, which is going to be Dawn of the Dead. So, yeah, so we already covered just a couple spots up from yours. Yeah, I just love it. And I know it's Jason. The original is Jason's favorite movie of all time. Me personally, if you ask me to choose which one I'm going to watch, I'm going to watch the remake over the original. That's just me. So I like the action, I like the story. You know, not that I just like the original. It's just this one I would more gravitate towards personally. Yeah, the other one, and not to say that I know everything can feel dated over time. This one might even feel dated in the next 10 years, but that one just feels a little dated to me in some capacities. But and I agree, it has more social commentary, I guess, if you will, for its time period. But as far as enjoyable, and if you give me a choice, I'd rather watch the remake. But yeah, great action, great story. Good chance, definitely check out Dawn of the Dead.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. Number 2 for me is a movie that rhymes with that one. Number 2 for me is Shaun of the Dead. So, yeah. And you can see this is actually my friend Nora got this DVD autographed by Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, which is super cool. I've actually got, sometime over the last 16 years, I got the Blu-ray, but I kept the DVD cover.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So this to me, yeah, exactly. So this is just it's a perfect movie. Every time I watch it, it blows me away all over again because it is so funny. But also, it's okay. Like horror movies, there's comedies. There's a whole lot of horror comedies, but usually the horror comedies out there, they usually lean heavily on one side or the other. So this one, I would say it definitely leans on the comedy, but it actually works as a really good horror movie too. It actually gets pretty intense toward the end, and it actually feels like there are some stakes in it. A lot of times the horror comedies, you don't really get that emotionally invested because it just seems silly. But this one, you do. It gets actually pretty intense, and there's a lot of stakes and a lot of action and a lot of violence at the end. But I think it's just a great movie. It introduced Simon Pegg and Nick Frost to America. They went on to make The World's End and Hot Fuzz and a lot of other fun movies. But to me, never come close to Dawn of the Dead. I think it's one of the best horror movies of the last 20 years, and definitely one of the best horror comedies of the last 20 years. So that's my number 2, Shaun of the Dead.
Cool. Yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it or anything, but I did like it. There's definitely some funny parts. I would definitely consider it to be more comedy than horror, in my opinion. But it does make some horror in there as well. So, but when I think of it more as a comedy personally. But yeah, good choice. Not my top 10, not my honorable mentions, but I don't dislike it or anything. So good choice.
Yeah, I know.
My number 2, and it's kind of one that's hard to describe per se, because it's kind of a comedy, kind of a drama, and it's kind of weird in parts also. But it's one that I don't know. It's always stuck with me over the years. At one point, I thought it was going to be my number 1, but I ultimately changed it. My number 2 is actually going to be Garden State. Garden State. Yeah. Stars Zach Braff, also directed by him as well. I just love the story. It's just a really good kind of slice of life kind of story, if you will. It's just one of those ones you just have to kind of see because it's a comedy, but it's also got some drama in it as well. But it's got a lot of really good funny parts in it also. So just really kind of quirky and weird too, because everybody in this film is kind of a little quirky and a little strange. So Natalie Portman in there, she's kind of weird. It also has Peter Sarsgaard, who's also weird in this one as well.
I like Garden State. To me, it's not one that has aged particularly well for me. I definitely love the soundtrack. The soundtrack is good. But to me, the movie was a little bit, I like Zach Braff. I was a big Scrubs fan. To me, it was like he was going after stuff that I've seen done better. You know what I mean? He was kind of going after Wes Anderson a little bit, kind of going after The Graduate a little bit. So basically, I've seen that kind of movie just done better. Not that I disliked it or anything, but it's not one of my favorites. So
that's where I guess
great though.
Because I'm not a huge Wes Anderson fan as you are. So for me, I thought this was better than anything that Wes Anderson has done personally. So yeah.
All right.
Cool. All right. Number 1.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay, number 1 for me is, I'm thinking probably the same as your number 1, obviously, and that is Kill Bill Volume 2. So
Correct,
Kill Bill
sir.
Volume 2, it's interesting. Yeah. There you go. There you go. Exactly. So, yeah. So I think we can just both talk about Kill Bill Volume 2 then. I think we both felt the same way when it came out, which is to say that we liked it a lot, but it was maybe felt like a tiny bit of a disappointment after the first one, because the first one was so just amazing and it blew us away so much, both of us. And then Volume 2 kind of was really cool, but it was much more laid back, a little bit more subdued, a little more reflective, longer, more gradual pace to it. So expecting it to be just like a nonstop, like adrenaline explosion like the first one, I think the first time both watched it, we loved it, but we were a little disappointed, I guess. But I think you feel basically the same way as I do, in that like every time you've watched it since, it's just gotten better and better and better and better. And I'm not quite on the same boat as people that, because there are a lot of people that say Volume 2 is better than Volume 1. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to quite say that. But I am going to say, like, over the years, I've grown to appreciate it and love it. I mean, and you know, back in 2004, just watching it a second and third time, I just loved it. You know, but I still don't think it's as good as Part 1, but it's an amazing movie. It's perfect. Kill Bill Volume 1 is definitely my number 1. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. The first time I saw this one, because, you know, so the first film, I mean, they come right out the gate action. You know what I mean? Like from the first frame, they're pretty much already like fighting in action. It's like, you know, there's, just a cool girl fight, like from the very get-go. This one, you know, they start off and it's basically a lot of dialogue. So that was like the biggest difference, is like this long, wedding scene and this long, conversation with Bill and it draws out for like a good 15, 20 minutes before there's any action. And so the contrast of it kind of threw me off a little bit. And, initially, because I was expecting it to just come out the gate blazing like the first one did. And this one was a lot more subdued. There was a lot more dialogue. There's a lot more conversation. And so the tone of it started off different. And so when I first watched it the first time, granted, it does pick up. I feel like the girl fight with Daryl Hannah was better than the girl fight with the Vivica A. Fox. I think that was a better fight scene overall, if I'm comparing the two films. But the pacing of this one was a longer film. It felt a little bit longer, whereas the other one was like a straight action film, like from beginning to end. This one had a lot more story to it, had a lot more dialogue. Plus, they had to backtrack so you can figure out who Bill was and that kind of stuff. And so the pacing of it was just a little different for me. So the first time I saw it, I liked it. I don't even know if I consider it to be my top film of that year for that year initially. I have to go back and double check, but because I wasn't for sure that it was quite as good. But over the years, it's definitely grown on me. I definitely feel like it is definitely one of his top films. Well, they're all tops for me, but it's in the top half, anyways, of his films. But it definitely grew on me over the years. Now the pacing doesn't bother me as much, and I think it just fell into that trap of coming out like literally the next year after the first one, which was just so action packed, and then this one was a lot more subdued. I definitely don't think this is better than the first one by any means. There's still, even though I would give them both 5 stars, there's still a separation for me between the two films. But this one's still great. It's still, I think, the best movie of 2004, and definitely one that I've always enjoyed and love. And if you haven't seen either of the Kill Bills, then I don't know what you're doing with your life, but get on that immediately. So, but yeah, great choice. So cool, cool. Well, I'm gonna, I guess, yeah. I'm going to run through my honorable mentions real quick. So we already kind of alluded to my number 15, I think in the first show, which was The Punisher, which I definitely love. 14 would be Team America, World Police, which I also love a great deal. 13 would be Dodgeball, another comedy. I always just enjoyed that one, though. 12 would be The Bourne Supremacy. I didn't like it quite as much as The Bourne Identity, but I do like The Bourne Supremacy a great deal. And then number 11, and it just missed the cut, was 28 Days Later. So those are my honorable mentions. Take it away, Jason.
Cool. All right. My honorable mentions, just a few. I in no particular order. Millions. It's a cool bag of money movie. It's almost the one that I gave you for 2004. I think you'd like this movie a lot. Kind of a comedy thriller. Christmas movie also. Friday Night Lights. I'm not really a big sports fan, but I do like a lot of movies about sports, and this is one of my favorite football movies for sure. SpongeBob SquarePants. Love it. Love it. Love it. Mean Girls. It's a good movie. It's not as good as Heathers, but it's kind of in that same kind of mode. Collateral. Collateral is a really cool movie. I'm surprised that's not in your top 10 or your runner-ups. But Collateral is a great movie.
Yeah, it just missed the cut. So. Yeah.
I figured I'd be somewhere in there, but if not, I'm sure it's close for sure. Duck Season. You've probably never heard of this one, but it's I think it's a Mexican movie, but it's a cool movie about a group of kids who are stranded in an apartment when the power goes out one day. It's real, just slice of life, funny, coming of age kind of movie. And then lastly, I am not a big Harry Potter fan, but I think most people agree that the best Harry Potter movie is The Prisoner of Azkaban, which came out in 2004. I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. I only own this one and the Deathly Hallows, both of those. I do like them all. They're all good movies. It's just not my, I'm not a Harry Potter, there's really a lot of intense Harry Potter fans, and I'm not one of those. But this movie really surprised me by how good it was. It's directed by the guy who made Y Tu Mamá También. So it's definitely got some real artistry to it. Also a time travel storyline, and I love time travel. So, those are my runner-ups for 2004.
Cool. Yeah, I can honestly say that I've never actually seen a Harry Potter film. So, but, it is what it is. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll get into our challenge films. I guess I'll have you go ahead and start with your challenge film for me for 2005. So what film did you select for me?
I am giving you another Bill Murray treat because I gave you Lost in Translation before. I'm giving you what I think is one of his other best performances, which is Broken Flowers. So that came out in 2005. It's a Jim Jarmusch film. Great cast, really cool movie. It's got a lot of really funny parts, but it's mostly a drama, I would say, but it's got a lot of really funny stuff in it. So I hope you enjoy that.
Cool. Well, I will definitely have to check that one out. So.
Yeah, you do have to check that one out
now. Cool. Well, my film I gave to you, and it's one that I didn't realize that you hadn't seen before, is Harsh Times with Christian Bale. Yeah. I can't believe you haven't seen that one.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah,
that's what I figured you would give me. Which is good. It's always been on kind of my list to see, but I just never did. So now I will.
Awesome. Cool. Well, those are our films. We'll be doing our top 10 films of 2005 at some point. So definitely stay tuned for that. And then we'll do a recap of both those films, Broken Flowers for me and Harsh Times for Jason. Once again, we hope you guys enjoyed the show. As always, if you like it, if you like the show, we ask you to give us a big like or a thumbs up, and leave some comments down below if we missed any films or any films you think that should have been included in our top 10. And then, as always, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of our uploads. As we upload about 2 to 3 times a week. We thank you guys all for watching. We hope you have a great day, and we will see you guys all again real soon. Thanks so much.